Hi there, my name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. Trump's hate speech and rally held in Wildwood, New Jersey over the weekend has gone viral, but of course for all the wrong reasons.
Carried out by rape. That's right, all being done by him. Carried out by...
What is he even saying? It's just this gibberish. His brain is clearly not working. There's serious cognitive decline. This man is not well, and his synapses are misfiring, and it gets better, or should I say worse. He then appeared to try to refer to former President Jimmy Carter, an incredible human, as an example of apparently what he thinks he will be regarded as if he ever leaves office, if he gets back in. I'm really not sure because he was struggling with words, trying to say, I think he was trying to say Jimmy Carter, but it kept coming out as Jimmy Connors, but who knows? Maybe he was referring to the former famous tennis player, Jimmy Connors. We don't know. Just listen to him.
Jimmy is a very happy man, both of them, because you know what? They want him out. Jimmy Carter had a bad reputation. Right now, he is considered a totally brilliant president by comparison. Right now, he is a totally brilliant president by comparison. Jimmy Connors is Jimmy Connors is good. He's also happy. Jimmy is a very happy man.
Who is they? Who is they are saying? Like, that clip clearly made no sense. Then there's this clip of Donald Trump talking about the fictional character in the movie Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter, as if he is a real person. Not to mention that Hannibal Lecter's character is a psychopathic, evil serial killer. And Trump is referring to him as a great person.
Silence of the Lamb. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lamb? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner. As this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner. But Hannibal Lecter, congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. We have people that are being released into our country that we don't want in our country.
I mean, what in the hell? Can you imagine President Biden or former President Obama referring to Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy, both terrifying serial killers, as wonderful people? And they were actually real serial killers. Donald Trump is complimenting a character whom he appears to think is real by saying the late, great. Like, I mean, I'm laughing, but it's really just nuts. Like, what are we doing, America? Then in this next clip, Donald Trump says that abortion bans that force teenage rape victims to give birth to their rapist babies are something that we should cherish.
But that's the way it is, and it's something that we should cherish. We were able to do something that nobody was able to do, and it's all starting to come together, the issue of abortion.
So MAGA heads were saying that the crowd was 80,000 people in Wildwood. It was not. And then the mainstream media picked up on that, which is disappointing. Like in this clip from The Guardian, I usually regard The Guardian as very reputable, but they then repeated the lie that 80,000 people attended Trump's rally. But Wildwood Park doesn't even hold that many people. The MAGA heads just lie about everything. It is acceptable in their culture to just lie. The crowd was closer to 8,000 people, if that. And in the middle of it, people started leaving. These are alleged Trump supporters. They started walking out while Trump was rambling on, talking about Chris Christie and something about don't use the word pig because he was calling Chris Christie a fat pig. I mean, just listen to it.
You can't use the word shit. Okay. Trump derangement, but he was, and somebody from the front row said, "Sir, he's a fat pig."
That's so funny. I got
I
the
said,
book.
but nobody heard. The person was a nice person. I said, you cannot call Chris Christie a fat pig. You cannot do that. Please, sir, if you call him a fat pig once more, I'm going to have you leave the arena. And the guy didn't know what was happening. I said, don't worry about it.
Then Roger Stone tweeted out a picture of a Rod Stewart concert in Rio de Janeiro from 30 years ago. I kid you not, pretending that this picture, clearly not taken in Wildwood, New Jersey, was the Trump Wildwood crowd. Like, you just cannot make this up. Then, as Victoria Brownworth describes in this tweet, which I found quite amusing, quote, Republican Congressman Jeff Drew tells a barely sentient crowd staring directly at the sun that the economy was great under Trump when the unemployment rate was over 13%. Under President Biden, it's now under 4%.
We are here because we remember where we were 4 years ago. We remember 4 years ago when we had a great economy. And we see what's happening right now in an economy that's faltering.
And this is the bullish that is spread not only on the right-wing propaganda networks, which just lie. For me as a journalist, it amazes me because I used to have to spend so much time with corporate attorneys to make sure that anything that I would report in a story wouldn't get us sued. But apparently that has now gone out the window with right-wing propaganda networks, but also with the mainstream media, is also parroting the Trump lies that somehow Donald Trump and Republicans are good for the economy. That is blatantly false. It is the reverse of reality. We have to remember that. And this is why it is so important to know your facts and make sure that you're getting your information from verified sources. The economy was obliterated under Donald Trump. He added nearly $8 trillion to our national deficit and lost more jobs than any president in history. Historically, Republicans have left the United States in a recession, crashing with terrible economic numbers. And President Obama had to come in and clean up after President Bush, and President Biden is now cleaning up in an incredibly good job the mess that Donald Trump and the Republicans left us. But you're not going to see that reported in the New York Times, which is not liberal at all. Just FYI, it's the opposite. Right now, under Biden's leadership, the United States has the strongest economy in the world.
When I started this administration, people were saying there's going to be a collapse in the economy. We have the strongest economy in the world. Let me say it again, in the world.
Although GDP last week was far short of expectations.
Oh, it wasn't. Look, GDP is still growing. Look at the response of the markets. Overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. And one of the reasons why people feel good about it not being as strong as it was before is they believe that the Fed's going to respond.
They hope they're going to get a rate cut.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, no president's had the run we've had in terms of creating jobs and bringing down inflation. It was 9% when I came to office. 9%.
But here goes Aaron Burnett on CNN with the nays saying, oh, but what about this? What about that? The mainstream media just refuses to give credit to Biden where credit is due. As journalists, yes, your job is to be skeptical, to examine things with a critical eye. But when the numbers, which do not lie, are saying that our economy is booming, that it's on fire, then it's your job to report that. It's just astounding to me the way the narrative is just getting flipped around. Our economy under President Joe Biden bounced back stronger than any other nation after the pandemic. But they cannot bring themselves to admit that. And that is not journalism. If the sky is blue, your job is to report that the sky is blue, not say, well, it could be green, because it's not green, it's blue. Stop the gaslighting. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Donald Trump is a decompensating train wreck. That's why so many people tune in to hate watch the nutty videos of all the things that he's doing. But we cannot lose sight of the fact that as I speak, fascists across the country under the auspices of the Heritage Foundation, the Federalist Society, an evangelical group of pastors, all aligned in this white Christian nationalist takeover, are setting up the infrastructure for a Trump presidency. It is called Project 2025, and it's their playbook for an authoritarian-run fascist America. Not a joke, as Joe Biden says. So even if Donald Trump cannot mumble a complete sentence, even if he's cognitively impaired, he's still dangerous. Republicans started building this network at the grassroots level years ago when, Democrats were asleep at the wheel, in my opinion. And now Republicans have taken over school boards, they've taken over city councils, state legislatures, and the courts, which is very obvious if you can see what's happening in our federal court system. It goes far and wide, and they have plugged in all of their willing pawns, the Aileen Cannons of the world, these corrupted judges, many of whom you're not hearing about. And these fascist Republicans are licking their chops to get this rambling, incoherent, wannabe fascist dictator installed.
They're sitting in chairs listening to a teacher talk in English, and they don't speak English. And it will mean Biden's border invasion. They don't speak.
And you know what? They don't care if Donald Trump wears diapers or can't or refuses to understand NATO or any of the complex issues that the leader of the currently free world that should be just qualified to know. Like they don't care. Or if he accepts the endorsement of a convicted sexual predator in Lawrence Taylor, whom Trump brought to the stage in Wildwood. Lawrence Taylor, by the way, pleaded guilty to sexually assaulting a young girl. It is all about consolidating white male Christian power and expanding corporate greed and riches. Please hear me. This is the time to speak to your friends and family. I know these conversations are very difficult because I also struggle with them. Democracy is hard won. It's not something that we can just sit back, and that's what's happened in America. We've become very complacent. Well, now we're at the precipice. We are careening towards an incredibly dangerous place. We're already there. If you look at all the passes Donald Trump is getting with the courts and the horrible laws that are being passed against women. And it's not going to be Jack Smith or the courts or President Biden who will save us. It has to be us. We, the people. And that means taking action now. Voting is critically important, but you got to get working now. Spread the word. Volunteer with pro-democracy candidates that support democratic values. It takes hitting the pavement. I've done it myself. I've worked on many campaigns, knocking on doors, making phone calls. If you can't leave your house, if you're, disabled or something, you can just do a Zoom call or do phone calls. These campaigns are really good at training you how to do that. And it makes you feel good that you're doing something positive for our freedoms and our democracies. So spread the word, educate your friends and family. It's worth it. Our freedoms are worth it. All right, my name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching and or listening to the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Let me know what you think about this video in the comments, please. Thank you. Peace.
Real quick, Meta just changed their algorithm to suppress political content. Please follow our Instagram at MeidasTouch right now as we head towards 400,000 followers so you don't miss a beat.